When they came to Michigan, finally, and I was born, and he had an offer of a teaching job at Greeley, Colorado, and that sounded great. So that's how I ended up growing up in Greeley, Colorado. Very shortly, he started coming up every summer to the Estes Park. Jack Moomaw was what we would call the superintendent of the park. At that time, he was just the chief ranger. Well, he and Jack Moomaw plotted where the trails would go. Then my father would have a crew of high school and college kids and farm kids work and build the trails. I can remember the two of them, Jack Moomaw and my father, saying to the crew boys, "You don't cut a single tree that you don't have to cut, and you don't disturb the hillside more than is absolutely necessary." So here were two environmentalists way before their time. Most of the time they drilled holes with star drills. You know, they'd hold it up here against the rock and pound. Some of those round holes were where they had pounded holes to put dynamite. Rarely did they get to use dynamite, but when they did, my father would have us come that day and hide behind trees just so we could see and experience the dynamiting of big rocks. And we'd have rocks pepper down around us. But he just loved it. You know, as much of an environmentalist as he was, he just loved the process of dynamiting. He just thought this was wonderful. They had a cook that cooked for the crew because it was a big crew. And the cook had a cook tent. Well, the cook would bake pies in the evening. Well, those pies kept disappearing, and the cook said to Dad, "I'm going to put my bedroll in the cook tent, and I'm going to catch those boys that are coming and getting those pies every night." So he did. Well, sure enough, here came the boys at midnight, and the cook in the dark of night jumped up to grab one of them. Turned out to be a bear. And Dad got out, heard the commotion, and got out of his tent to see what was going on. And he said that they were tearing that tent apart, the man trying to get out that way, the bear trying to get out this way. And the next morning, there was no way in the world that he could convince him that it would be all right to stay. He rolled up his belongings and he took off down the hill to Estes Park.